The mistakes of others must have had too little impact on us. If the past was dark, I can decide the color of the future. I am Adelaide, and this is how God helped me to draw my future from uncertainty. 1 minute, please click the notifications bell and subscribe for more stories. And send us your testimonials at hollyholly701@gmail.com. I lost my parents very early, my father at the age of 10, my mother, and 3 years later. My father was everything to me, so loving and caring. He treated me like a real princess. He was separated from my mother. She had chosen other men instead, to the point of having a total of 6 children with 5 different fathers. She left me with my father, for whom I represented the world. He had been able to fill my mother's love with his own, a love that unfortunately only lasted a few years. Dad was in the army. He went on a mission, and as each time he was reassured that I had everything I needed, I took care of the house. I didn't need a nanny. My aunt could stop by once or twice during the to see if everything was okay. If you think I was too young, well, it was an opinion shared by many others, but my father and I were really not like the others. The day of his arrival was approaching, and I wanted to surprise him. I had prepared everything for his birthday. He had called me the day before to confirm. I waited so long, but he never came. A few days later, my aunt came home with other people to tell me that my dad was killed during their last raid. I was devastated, and before I even mourned, I was sent to my mother, who was far too busy to take care of me. She spent most of her time away from home. But since I was already used to being independent, I managed enough. I must all the same have that I was happy to have my mother. I learned to love her, little by little, but just when I started enjoying the feeling, it was gone. I found myself once again alone. I met my other siblings for the first time at my mother's funeral. I saw nothing in their eyes, no compassion for some, even it was hatred for not having known their father. Only one question came to my mind: where was I going to end up this time? After a meeting, they decided that I will live with my grandmother, and once again, I was surprised to know that I had family somewhere. Once with Grandma, I was also trying to make a place for her in my heart, something that was not easy at all. Grandma was already in love with something else: cigarettes. Being new to this kind of practice, my little brain could no longer hold its own. I didn't even tell you about school because it occupied too little space in my life. I had a big fall from my cloud of imaginations, so what was the use of dreaming? I was far too busy chasing after love. Grandmother could not afford paying for my studies, so I left school in 3rd grade. I had to fend for myself. Misery was knocking at my door, days without food on my table. And then I met him. He was a salesman in a shop. He gave me food when things were bad. I got on well with him. At least he allowed me to get away from it all. Since a favor is almost never free, we took action. I was only 18 and I was pregnant. I told him that with joy. I'm late and I think I'm pregnant. How's that pregnant? We only had sex once. Yes, and it was my only and first time. You know that very well. You should have refused. Didn't your mother teach you to be more careful? Are you puffed up to tell me that after all you know about my story? Are you throwing it in my face like that? Besides the two of us, you're the most mature. Need I remind you that you are my senior by over 15 years? Oh, you are very smart, but I don't want a child. After that evening, I never saw him again. He had left town. I was in so much pain that I didn't know what to do. I was walking without knowing where to go. When my grandmother found out, she proposed that I marry one of the sons of her old acquaintance. Grandma, I won't marry a man I don't know. I'm tired of going from house to house, and then I don't want to have a child with another person. I don't want to end up like Mom. Come on, the one you know, where is he? He didn't want you. Another is kind enough to take you and your child in, but you insist on waiting for him. She wasn't going to let me be, so I left having absolutely no idea where I was going to. I just knew that there is a God in heaven. I have heard of him before. I know he will take care of me. I stopped in front of a church, and without thinking I entered. When I got inside, I collapsed, as if I was in someone's arms. I later woke up to a very warm bedroom. The scent in it was so sweet. Next to me, a young lady who looked at me worriedly. That look reminded me of my dad when I was sick. I have to say I missed it. What is it, my child? Feeling important to someone. I don't know what you're talking about, but first of all, you need to gain strength. You're so weak, and you even have a fever. Oh Jesus, where are you from? She fed me so much I thought I would explode. after which I was ready to tell him everything in detail, which I did with all possible precision. My child, I admire your courage even more. I admire your determination. And I want you to know that you are not alone and you never have been. Take courage because the Lord has brought you home. He says, "Come unto me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Unload yourself on Him and everything will be better. Invite Jesus into your life and He will take care of it. I didn't have to pray. I was now living at the church and working there as a cleaner. The pastor had no problem with me staying there. A few months before my delivery, I had been assigned to rest. I gave birth to my beautiful David because I said, "I sing the praises of the Lord for what He has done for me, and my child will also sing it." I continued to pray for his father. I firmly believed that he would come back. It was Easter Sunday and David was going to be baptized. Everything had gone well, and at the end the church members were giving their blessing to the child. Suddenly I heard a voice that sounded familiar to me say, "Forgive me, my son." It was indeed Jules, his father. At the time I was happy and angry at the same time, but I was above all grateful, because the miracle I expected had happened. Jules explained to me the reason for his departure, the fear of taking responsibility, the concern for freedom, and I was able to forgive him even though it was very difficult. Guess what? He repented and gave his life to Christ, and today we are married, expecting our second child. What others do or where we come from does not determine what we are called to be, because God alone decides for our life. Trusting Him and walking in His ways are the best ways for us to have the assurance of it. Never stop praying for this thing that is close to your heart, because the answer will certainly come. Only will we be knowledgeable enough to see it. Shalom.